Hello friends, welcome back. In today's session we are going to perform CRUD operations in ASP.NET Core by using Razor Pages. So first we will see the demo. I am going to click on product. So this index page will be displayed here. Currently we do not have any products, that is why we are displaying this message to the user. Whenever we have the products, so we are going to bind into this table. We will create one product here. I will click on create new. This is the create page where we can create new product. I am trying to create product without entering any values. I will click on create. So client side validation and server side validations implemented in this example. Now I will enter the values here. I will click on create. Once product is created, it will be redirected to index page. From index page we can edit and we can see the details and we can delete the product. First we will see the edit page. Click on edit. So it will redirect it to edit page. Here we are passing the product ID, which is primary key in our table. I am going to update these details here. Save it. So product details has been updated. Once it is updated, again we are redirecting into index page. I will click on the details page. In this details page, product details will be available. We can go to back to list. So again it will be redirected to index page. If you want to edit the product here, you can click on edit. I am going to back to list. So now here we can delete the product. Click on delete. Once we click on delete, so it will be redirected to delete page where we are passing product ID again. Here user has to confirm the deletion. So once user is clicked on this delete button, this product will be deleted permanently from the database. If I do not want to delete, I can click on back to list. Now again I will go to the delete. This time I am going to delete product. Click on delete. Product has been deleted and default message is displayed. Since we do not have any products inside the table, so this default message will be displayed here. For this example, we are going to use the Visual Studio and SQL Server, and we are going to use the entity framework code first approach. Also here we are going to use the scaffolding mechanism. We are not going to write any code. In upcoming videos, we are going to perform the CRUD operations without using the scaffolding mechanism. Also we are going to perform CRUD operations by using the stored procedures. For now we are going to use the scaffolding mechanism in this session. Here I am going to use Visual Studio 2022. I am going to use the existing solution to create new project. Here we have to create the new application. Click on the solution. Click on add new project. Here I am searching for .NET Core application. Here we have to select the ASP.NET Core web application. Earlier we used to select the ASP.NET Core web application with MVC. Here we are not going to use the MVC, we are going to use the Razor Pages. For this I am going to select ASP.NET Core web app. Click on next. Here we have to provide the project name. This is my project name. I am going to store in this location. Click on next. I am going to select the latest .NET framework. Here in my case I am selecting .NET 7.0 and click on the create. New project will be created for us. Compared to MVC application, there is a slight differences with the Razor application. So here we do not have any model view controller. Earlier we had created MVC application which we had model, views and controllers separate folders. Here nothing will be there, and the root folder will be similar to the MVC where all our static files folders will be available here. And apart from this we have app settings.json, it is similar to MVC, and the program.cs. And here new thing is we have folder called pages. So where all our Razor pages will be created inside the pages folder. If you see this shared folder, here our layout will be available inside the shared folder. We will make this project as default project, set as startup project. We will run the application and we will see the output. This is the home page. If I click on privacy, it will be redirected to privacy page. Again, if I click on home page, it will be redirected to home page. I'll close this. Here I am going to create one folder called models. Here I am going to define my database entities. I'll right click on this project, add new folder. Here I am going to create one folder called models. Inside this I am going to define my DB entities. So here I am going to create one class. I am creating one class called product. Here I am going to define my properties. Like it as ID. This is going to be primary key. I will decorate with key. Then I need another property called product name, which is going to be string. So this is the required field. So we have to add the attribute called required. Also I am going to change the display name for binding purpose. So these are all the properties I am going to define it. Here we have to add the required namespace. This should be display name. Price also mandatory field. Also quantity is mandatory. So this is our product model. Go to the application. I'll create one more folder here, which is called DAL. I'll create a class here. This is my context name. Here we are going to use the entity framework code first approach. For that we have to add the required namespaces. Right click on the project, go to the manage NuGet packages. Here we can search for entity framework core. I need entity framework core, install it, accept the license terms. Then we need SQL Server, which we are going to use it for our DB connectivity. Accept. Also we are going to use the scaffolding. For that we have to install the design, install it. Here we are going to use the code first approach. For that we have to install the tools package, install the latest version, accept the terms. So we have installed all the packages related to entity framework. Close this. Here app DB context will be inherited from the DB context. Here we have to add the required namespace, which is entity framework core. You have to select the entity framework core. Select the DB context, go to the quick actions, generate constructor with options. Here we have to add one more property, which is going to be virtual, and it's a DB set. Here we have to call our product. So we are going to use this DB context to communicate between database and our application. I'll make it as products. To communicate with database, we need to provide the DB name and connection strings. For that we have to go to the app settings.json. Here we are going to add the connection string. Here we have to provide the connection string name. I'm going to paste it here. This is the connection string name, and here I am providing my SQL Server name. In my SQL Server, I have multiple SQL instances. That's why I am providing SQL instance name. This is my PC name and this is my SQL instance name. If you have a single instance, you no need to provide this instance name. This is my database name. Here I am going to use the Windows authentication. That's why I mentioned as integrated security true. Here I am going to use the SSL. That's why I am going to make it as trust server certificate as true. Now we have to add the dependency injection for this connection string. This is the dependency injection. It's a fixed code. We no need to change anything. Go to the program.cs. Before builder.build, here we have to call our dependency injection. So here we are going to use the SQL Server, and here we have to pass the connection string name. Also we have to pass the appdb context name here. So I'll copy my appdb context name from here. I'm going to pass it here. Here we have to add the namespace. So this appdb context is available inside the DAL folder. So we have to add the namespace. Save it. We will build the application once. So there is no error. First I am going to migrate our database into the SQL Server. For that I am going to use the package manager console. Go to the package manager console. Here we have to select the default project. In our case, CRUD with Razor Pages. This is our project. Here I am going to add migration command first. I have to provide the migration name. I will provide as initial. Enter. So build succeeded. Now we have to update the database. Now database has been migrated. We will switch to SQL Server and we will check that. This is my SQL Server. I'll refresh the databases. So this is our database name. So database is created and we can check the tables also. So table also created. We can check the columns and data types. So all 4 columns are available. Now we have to create the Razor Pages. For that I am going to select pages. Inside these pages I will create a folder called product master. Inside this product master I am going to create pages for the CRUD operations. I click on the product master, add, go to the new scaffold item. Here we can select the Razor Pages using entity framework CRUD. Click on add. Here we have to select the required model class. In our case product is our model class. Also we have to select the data context class. We can select the appdb context is our data context. Click on add. So it takes some time to create all the pages to perform the CRUD operations. Here we can see all our Razor Pages has been created. This is the index view and this is the code related to index view. Likewise delete view and delete related code. Here we don't have any controller. We will be having CS file like web forms. If you have any experience in web forms, it is similar to web forms. So this is the view and this is the code behind file, where inside the CS file all the DB activities will be performed like this. Here if you want to get the product list, here we are calling the get async method, where we are going to connect with the context and we are going to read the data from the products table. Likewise if you go to the delete CS, here we are going to get the data based on the ID and we are going to display it. If there is no product available, we are going to return as product not found. So this is the post action method. Once product is available, we are going to delete the product from the database. We will switch to details view. So this is the view page and this is CS page. So we are going to initialize our DB context here. By using DB context, here we are calling our product details based on the ID which is passed by the user. This is the edit. Here we can edit the product based on the ID. So this is the code where we are getting the data from the database based on the product ID. If product ID is null or if product is not, we are going to pass it as not found. If there is any product available, then we are going to pass that product details. Here all the pages there is one bind property. In our ASP.NET MVC applications, we no need to use the bind property. In controller, we are going to assign the product list to the view. Here we are not going to use the view. Here we are not going to pass the model inside the return page. Here directly by using the bind property, we can bind the data. Edit view. Here we are calling the edit model. So this is the edit model. By using the edit model, here we are passing product details like product ID, product name and the price, quantity. So everything we can access inside the view. Save this. I am going to run the application now. I will call product. It should be product master. So this is our index page. So currently we don't have any products, so that's why we are not getting any data here. So we will change this design. I'll go to the index. So I am going to make it as H3. After this, I will add one horizontal row. Also for create button, I am going to add bootstrap classes. Here before binding the data, we have to check. Sometimes there will not be any data here, so we may get null reference exception here. So here we have to check if it is not null and model dot product dot, if it contains any records, then only it should come into this and it should bind the products. So inside this loop, it will be executed for each loop and it will bind each row. Also here this we can give header as action for the buttons like edit, details and delete. So if we don't have any details inside this product model, so then we have to use the else condition here. Else, here we have 4 columns, so I will use one table row, table data. I am going to use the call span of 4 and class I will use text center. Inside this I will display as products not available in the database. So this is the message which I am going to display to the user. So whenever there is a product, so it will be called inside this loop and this will be executed and it will bind the data here. If we don't have any data, so then it comes to the else block, it will display this message to the user. I'll run the application once again. So now this message is displayed. Now we can click on create new. Here we can create the products. Here also we can add some space after the quantity. I'll change all the details, then we can execute the application. So this also I'm going to make it as H3. Here for the back to list also I'm going to change class I'll keep this inside a div and I'll add class margin top 2. So then I'll go to edit also I'm going to change our design. So by using scaffolding we no need to write any code, so it will generate automatically, so we can do required changes here. So edit also we have the back to list. Here I am going to remove back to list here. I'll move it to top. Here also I am going to use margin top 2, and after this button I am going to add 2 spaces, and then I'll move it here. Here I can add class create also I can do few changes. So we can make it as H3 instead of H1. Here this back to list button I'm taking it to top, so I can copy it from previous one. So this is the back to list. Then details, I think we have not changed. Go to the details. Here I can add class margin top 2, class btn primary, and for back to list also I'll add on class hope we did all the changes here. Delete, this is not required. Edit, it's okay, it's okay. We will run the application now. Currently we don't have any products. I'll click on create new. So here I'm going to add some products. Here also we have to show space between this quantity and buttons. Margin top 2. Create. Once the product is created, it will redirect to the index page. So I'll click on edit. I can update the data here. Save. So this product has been updated. Click on details, we can see the product details. Back to list, here we can delete the product. Once it is confirmed, product has been deleted from the database. Click on create new. So like this we can perform the CRUD operations in ASP.NET Core application by using the Razor pages. There is no much differences between the MVC and the Razor pages. If you know the .NET Core MVC, then you can easily understand these Razor pages also. There is no much differences here. So this view will be similar to the .NET Core MVC. Since we are using Razor pages here, we have to use the @page directive here, and this is the reference of your CS file. So this is the model called from here. So in MVC application we will be using controller, where all your DB activities will be performed inside the controller, whereas in Razor pages we will be having view and CS file, where CS file contains all our DB activities. Here we will initialize the DB context. From there we can get the data and we can post the data. To bind the data in the view, so we will use the model property here. This is our product model, and we will use the bind property. By using the bind property, we can communicate with the view easily. So to get the data and to post the data, so we will use the bind property here. So by using this bind property only, so we can pass and we can retrieve the data here. So this is the simple example which we have done in today's session. In the next session we are going to perform same CRUD operations without using any scaffolding mechanism. We are going to create each page manually, and we are going to write all these code one by one. So after that we are going to create another example related to CRUD operations in ASP.NET Core Razor pages. We are going to use the stored procedures to perform the CRUD operations. That's it for today. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.